Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, welcome to PlayLoad. This is all the pickups I got for November 2012. So let's just go ahead and get started with what you already know. This is Nintendo Land for the Wii U. You guys might remember I picked up a Wii U and I did an unboxing video of that, so you can go check that out if you haven't already seen it. And I got the 32GB deluxe black version, and that came with Nintendo Land. And I think this game's actually kind of a lot of fun. You know, it really uses the gamepad. Really, I think the way Nintendo intends to go with it. So far, I've had a lot of fun with it. I actually like the gamepad. I think that's a neat controller. In some cases, it feels like overkill, but you know, like sometimes you just want to use a regular controller. But at least it doesn't force you to use Wiimotes like the original Wii did. That train wreck piece of shit. Yeah, so I like this controller. I like using it, and I think it works well in this game. And the other game I got for the Wii U is New Super Mario Bros. U, which also uses the gamepad, although it doesn't require it. See, Nintendo Land has aspects of the game where, like, I did a gameplay video, so you can go check that out if you're confused as to what I'm talking about. But with this game, you'll have things appear on your TV screen, and you'll have different things appear on your little gamepad screen. And therein lies the challenge. You know, you have to, you know, for example, I played this drawing game with Yoshi, and again, go check out my video if you're not entirely certain what I'm talking about. But, you know, you'll like draw on the pad, and then you'll have to match it up with something you're seeing on the TV. So it's innovative. I like that. This game doesn't use that. You know, you can see the game on the screen, you know, like a little controller, or you can see it on the TV. So it uses it differently, and that's cool. I'm cool with that. It also uses the Wiimote controllers, and I think that's shit, because I hate those controllers so damn much. They have a classic controller, which I'll show you in a bit, as I picked up one of those as well, and it's like a regular controller. It looks a lot like an Xbox 360 controller, actually, and neither of these games support it, which is kind of annoying, but I'm sure more games will as time goes on. I can understand why this game wouldn't, because it requires that screen, but there's no reason this game shouldn't support it, and so far, I mean, the Wii U is pretty young, and already that's a big complaint on my part, is when games do not require that screen, I don't know why they don't support the Pro Controller. This game would be a lot more fun if I could just use the Pro Controller. But anyway, that's just my initial reactions to what the Wii U is doing so far, and I hope they fix that with future games. That being said, I actually do think this game is a lot of fun. I think this game is a lot of fun. And using this gamepad with this game is fine. I enjoy it. It works great. I just don't ever want to have to use a goddamn Wiimote again. I hate those things. So if you have multiple people playing, you'll either need a lot of gamepads or you'll need Wiimotes. So there you go. But gameplay is actually a lot of fun, and if you have a Wii U, I would highly recommend this game. Moving on, you guys might also remember I picked up a couple of Xboxes, and I cleaned them up, and inside I found a copy of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. The disc is legitimate. I actually printed this case and, you know, put it in a spare Xbox case I had, so I figured, what the hell, I'll just give it a case. But nothing really special about that game. I don't even think I really played it. Whatever. You guys might also remember I picked up Hitman Absolution. I was sent this by Machinima so that we can make a video with it, and then afterwards we just get to keep the game. So there you go, Hitman Absolution. I did an unboxing video of that before the game came out, so if you have any questions regarding the gameplay or what footage looks like, go ahead and check that out. Finally, I did a couple of trades with a few people. Well, not finally, but, okay, yeah, I did a few trades with a couple of people. I traded a guy, I don't even remember what I traded him, it's been a while, but he gave me Zelda Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, which I'm slowly getting into the process of collecting all the Legend of Zelda games, because I somehow missed them. You know, I've always known about Zelda, of course, but I've never really played any of them, and because I'm a purist and absolutionist, I kind of need to get them all before I can really touch it, if that makes any sense. The same person also traded me Grandia for the Sega Saturn. Unfortunately, this game was never released on the Saturn in the United States, only in Japan. If you wanted to play this in English, you had to get it on the PS1, which kind of sucks because I, obviously being somewhat of a Sega fanatic, if that wasn't already obvious, I prefer the Sega Saturn over the PS1. So that's unfortunate, although I don't really play RPGs, so I guess it doesn't affect me that much. Another game I traded, I got Saturn Bomberman. From a guy named Jake. His YouTube channel is the Film Eater. He tells me he's planning to make a lot of videos, so maybe you should check him out. But anyway, he traded me Saturn Bomberman, and it's in fantastic shape. Originally it had a crack in the case, but I just swapped it out with like a sports game, because that's a good reason to go out and buy sports games, people. The cases. You can always use them to replace your broken cases on your expensive games. Think about it. Makes sense. But yeah, so far I played this game just a little bit, and it seems like a lot of fun. It's highly regarded as one of the best games on the Sega Saturn. It's also it's kind of a rare title. So once again, Jake, the Film Eater, I really want to thank you for trading this to me, and I really hope that you enjoy the games I sent you. Moving on, this is stuff I now bought from here on out. I picked up Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. You guys might recall, I did a video about Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. I don't know why they dropped "and Sega." Maybe it's just because the title's ridiculously long. Because I love that game so much. Ryo Hazuki from Shenmue is in it, and all Shenmue fanatics, we were all really, really happy about that. And then in this game, they didn't put him in it, which pisses me off. But at the time I'm making this, there is still a poll that Sega is doing where you can vote on DLC for this game, and currently I believe Ryo is ranking number 2, so if you vote him up, he'll be in the game. So I highly recommend that everyone get out there and vote. I'll include a link in the description. But yeah, go vote for him, guys. We can get Ryo in this game. Probably no other Shenmue characters or levels or anything, but at least we can get him back. But I did a video on the original one of this where I got this game, well, the original game, working with the Dreamcast controller on the Xbox 360. I don't know if it would work on this one. I haven't played this one as much, but I've had some fun with it. It seems very weird that Danica Patrick is in this game, and you know, she's a NASCAR racer, I believe. And then Wreck-It Ralph, which if you've seen that movie, then that's really awesome. If you haven't seen the movie, then that's just really weird. But I saw that movie and I thought it was actually really good. So go check that out, and then the game you'll be much more interested in getting the game, because it's pretty cool that he's in it once you've seen the movie. Moving on, a couple of Black Friday deals. I went to Best Buy and I got Call of Juarez, the Cartel. I believe they were selling this for like $7 or something. And I really haven't played this much yet, but you know, I've heard decent things, so for $7, whatever. And then Dead Island, Game of the Year edition with all the DLC and everything. Best Buy was also selling this for $7 on Black Friday, so that was a no-brainer. I just went ahead and did that. And it's possible, to anybody out there who's watching who also watches our Game Society Films stuff, or Game Society Pimps as we're now called, if you watch that, we might be doing Dead Island for Pimps. It's a possibility. We're kicking it around the office. If you're interested in seeing that, you know, let me know. Anyway, moving on. I also picked up, I was at a used CD store, and they had Tekken 3, which doesn't seem like a big deal. I actually already have Tekken 3, and I have Dreamcast Tekken 3. Sorry. There's the legit disc to make it work. For those who don't know, Dreamcast was Bleem was a company that made a lot of emulators for the PlayStation, so that you could play PlayStation games on your PC, or in this case, the Dreamcast was for the Dreamcast, and it was a one-disc per game system. So for example, this is the Tekken 3 disc. You put this in your Dreamcast, and then it loads up this disc, and says, okay, switch it out, and put in Tekken 3. And then all of a sudden you're playing the PlayStation version of Tekken 3 on your Dreamcast perfectly. In fact, it was actually enhanced. It was better than playing it on an actual PlayStation. Now, they also designed these to support the Japanese versions of the games. The other two games being Gran Turismo 2 and Metal Gear Solid. Although I think they had issues with Metal Gear Solid's Japanese version. But anyway, this is the Japanese version of Tekken 3. And I saw it in a store for very cheap because they always thought it didn't work because, you know, it's region protected, and even though it has Japanese on it, I don't really think they, you know, drew the connection there. But anyway, I picked it up, and the disc art is incredibly nice, and it works. It works perfectly with the Dreamcast disc, and since I've never had one of those to test, I was very happy to have it, especially for a cheap price. So that's why I bought that. Next up was Tarzan for the original PlayStation. I'm sure you're wondering why the hell I would do this. It's an interesting platformer. It's kind of fun. I could see getting into it if I was a kid. It was basically a Goodwill rescue project, and I just saw it in a Goodwill, and I was like, oh, that needs a home. It doesn't need to get destroyed. And that was the same for Fear Effect 2, Retro Helix. All 4 discs. I think this was like $1. I think this was like $1 as well. Again, a Goodwill pickup. So yeah, the game. This game seems like it would be a lot of fun if you could get into it, but I don't have the first one, and I remember the controlling being like a nightmare. Too Human. This game is horrendous. It's terrible. It's absolute shit. And I'm sure you're wondering, well, if it's that bad, why do you want it? This game has now been pulled from shelves. I guess Silicon Knights got in trouble because I guess they stole some source code or something from Gears of War, and they included it without permission, and now the game has been recalled. And so it's actually becoming very, very hard to find this game. And I saw it in a store for $6, and I was like, well, it may be shit, but it's going to be rare and worth something someday, so that's why I have that. Next up, Ninja Gaiden for the original Xbox. I played this for a little bit, and it seemed okay. It seemed really hard. And I couldn't really figure out where to go, but granted I didn't put that much time into it. I was just kind of trying it out. And maybe I'll go back and revisit it, because I got a friend who is really, really into these games. So if you're watching, Daniel, shout out to you for being such a huge fan of Ninja Gaiden. Then I got Rainbow Six 3 for the original Xbox. Best of Platinum Hits version. I don't have much to say about the actual game, because I really don't like these Rainbow Six games. This was, again, it was like kind of a Goodwill rescue. I just saw it and I was like, oh, I feel bad for it. Actually, the biggest reason I bought it was because, what the hell is a Best of Platinum Hits? I know what Platinum Hits is. The game sells well enough, they re-release it as a Platinum Hit. Do Platinum Hits have the ability to go Platinum as well? Like, can the Platinum Hits sell so well that it becomes a Best of Platinum Hit? Is that what that is? Does anybody know? I would like to know that information. But the game itself, yeah, like I said, I really don't have much to say. But, yeah, if anybody knows why that's called a Best of Platinum Hits, let me know. Then I picked up my one and only PS2 game for this month, Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. This is a later PS2 release, also available on the Wii, which was kind of... There was a phase there where a lot of these last generation games, you know, PS2, Xbox, GameCube, weren't appearing on the Xbox and GameCube because they were done. So they were appearing on the Wii and the PS2. And it's kind of like, you know, man, which one do I choose? They both kind of suck. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of fanboys out there who's going to be very mad at me for saying I don't like one system or I don't like the other. Sorry, guys. Just a personal opinion. I've never really liked the PS2. I really, really don't like the Wii. But between the two, I think the PS2 is the lesser of two evils, which, as a Dreamcast fanatic, you have no idea how hard that is to say. But, yeah, what does that have to do with the game? Not much. Like I said, it's a later release game. I didn't really play it all that much. Has there ever been a good Indiana Jones game? I don't know. But it wasn't that expensive, so I just said, you know, what the hell. I kind of want to get all these Indiana Jones games if I can, because Indiana Jones is cool. And then I picked up this Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix for the GameCube. Even though I don't have the dance pad for the GameCube, this game's actually kind of fun. You can just play this with a controller. It actually, believe it or not, has kind of a story to it. And it's usually like a $40 game, and I found it for $5. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta pick that up. So I did, and I've had some fun with it. But I wish I had the GameCube dance pad so I could try that out. And unfortunately, the Wii dance pad, which actually uses GameCube controller ports, does not work on a GameCube, which is ridiculous, but that's how it goes. And here's a rare pickup. I got The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX for the Game Boy Color. And I say that's rare because I haven't picked up a Game Boy Color game since like 1998. I only have 2, and well, now 3. And so like I said before when I mentioned Wind Waker, I'm just trying to go through and get all the Zelda games. Well, maybe not the CDI ones, but as many of them as I can get that are considered good, at least. And, yeah, I just saw that, and I was like, alright, going ahead and getting the DX version. A couple of N64 games here. I got Mace the Dark Age, which was a very mid-90s fighting game. The guy on the cover looks a lot like Lord Zed from the Power Rangers. But, yeah, I don't remember really much about this game, to be perfectly honest. I think I bought it like at the beginning of the month, and I just kind of played it for a few minutes. Seemed okay. It would probably be a lot of fun when you were a kid, but now it's just like whatever. Stunt Racer for the N64. Believe it or not, this is one of the rarest games on the N64. This was exclusive to Blockbuster and back in the day, and it's kind of crappy, which sucks, but it was very, very rare because you could only rent it from them. They weren't supposed to sell it. So the only way you ever got it was if, you know, Blockbuster, when they were closing everything out, they were just selling used games, and then you had to hope that somebody kept it. And I saw it in a store one day. Not that expensive. It usually goes for like $80. I think I bought this, I'm embarrassed to say, for $30. And I just said, alright, I know I'm never going to get it cheaper than that unless I just get really lucky sometime, and I don't think I'm going to. So I bit the bullet and I just did it. So there it is, a nice little piece to have to the collection, but that's really all it is. Pilot Wings for the Super Nintendo. This game is fun. As a kid, there's no chance you're going to get into this. It requires too much patience. As an adult, this game is actually kind of enjoyable. Just like Pilot Wings 64. Pilot Wings is you're playing as these little guys, and you have to like land planes, or you have to parachute out of things, and you have to land through targets. Which the description alone sounds bad, but it's fun. If you can get yourself to get into it, it's a lot of fun. Madden 97. Wow, how do I describe this? Why would I pick up Madden 97? Well, as mentioned before, with Saturn Bomberman, sometimes it's good to have donor cartridges and donor plastic. In this case, this cartridge was in perfect shape, and I was at an outlet store, like a thrift store. All right, there's two kinds of thrift stores. There's your average Goodwill, you go in, you buy stuff, and then there's thrift stores have outlet versions of themselves that are really hard to find. For example, the Goodwill outlet is exclusive to the Pacific Northwest. Okay, I don't know why I know that, but I do. And there's some thrift stores that other than Goodwill that have outlets. And what they do is everything that you can't sell in those stores, they ship them to these outlet stores, and then they're sold by weight. So you put it on a scale, and per pound, how much does this cost? Whatever, and you buy it. So generally, it's very cheap, like $1 a pound. But the place I bought this at was 35 cents a pound. Now this doesn't weigh much of anything. So this didn't cost me, I might have paid like literally 2 cents for this. And the only reason I wanted it was for the back piece, so that I could swap it out in the future for cartridges that are more damaged. In fact, I think I already did that. And I don't remember what I swapped it with. But yeah, the back was in perfect shape, so I just swapped it out for something that wasn't quite in perfect shape, because that's a good reason to have sports games around, is just for their cases. The review of the game, it sucks. Let's see. Atari 2600 is the only Atari 2600 game I picked up. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. Like I said, kind of on an Indiana Jones kick for a little bit. And I saw this and I went, what the hell, I don't have that. It's very cheap, I'll pick it up. Actual gameplay description, I don't know. I got it running, but I couldn't really make him do anything. I couldn't make anything happen, and I was like, oh, the hell with it, I don't care enough. And so we move on. I picked up a few Sega Genesis games. I got this game called Gods. This game's totally horrible. Maybe you could get into it. I don't know. I really couldn't. You just walk around as this abnormally muscle-built dude, and you try to, attack things, but it's bad. It's like a really crappy platformer, because you just get killed immediately by like everything. I imagine with like Game Genie, this game would be much more fun. But even then, as I recall, it was like hard to make jumps, and it would just drive you crazy, even with cheats on. So maybe steer clear of this one. The Flintstones. I've oddly heard this game is incredibly rare. I've seen it like in game stores that know what they're selling, not just like thrift stores. They have it behind glass usually for like $50. And I saw it at this place for like, I think it was $5. And knowing that it was rare, even knowing, I don't know if it's any good, but if it's rare, so I picked it up for that cheap. I played it for a little bit. It seemed like a decent platformer. I mean, what else can I tell you? I basically purchased it just because it was rare. The Great Circus Mystery starring Mickey Mouse. A lot of Mickey Mouse games on the Genesis are really good. And I know that's kind of surprising, but a lot of the Disney ones are actually really good. Mostly because they're made by Sega. Now, the interesting thing about that is, take for example Aladdin. That's a Genesis game a lot of people have played. And that game is fantastic on the Genesis. But the Super Nintendo version, a lot of people have played and go, well, that sucked. And why was that version so bad? And it's because Capcom made it. Now, Capcom is good, but for some reason, Sega would make all the Disney licensed games on the Genesis, and then Capcom would make them for the Super Nintendo. But in this case, Capcom actually made this game, and I had no idea that Capcom ever made any of the Disney licensed stuff for the Genesis. So when I saw this, I was like, well, that just seems interesting. And I picked it up, and it's a weird game. It's a kind of a difficult platformer, and you have to like pick up power-ups that don't seem to have much of a purpose. Like, he'll pick up a vacuum, and he almost becomes like a Ghostbuster, but he can't really do anything. And I don't know, it was kind of fun. I could see getting into it again with maybe Game Genie on, so you can kind of shut your brain off and just kind of have fun. But like, it suffers kind of a similar problem that this game does, where it's very difficult to jump around and get to places, and you just kind of get pissed off and stop playing. Finally for the Genesis, I got Fantasia. Again, I told you I pick up a lot of these Disney ones because they're usually pretty good, or at least they were for the Genesis. Although now I'm drawing completely a blank on what the gameplay was, so it probably didn't make much of an impression, but I'm pretty sure this was made by Sega, so it was probably pretty decent. Also, now I got some ColecoVision games. Now, I haven't picked up a ColecoVision since I bought my ColecoVision, and that was probably in, like, 2000? I mean, it's been a while since I got a ColecoVision, and I actually didn't buy this game intentionally. I was buying this, and it was, like, packed together, and they said it was just 2 Atari 2600 games, and I couldn't, I don't know, maybe I was just spacing out, I don't know, but I bought this thinking, well, I want this game, and then this extra game's coming with it. It's baseball. And then it wasn't until I got back I realized this is for the ColecoVision, which is not a big deal because I do have one, but yeah, it just threw me because I hadn't picked up a ColecoVision game in a while. And then I got fooled very similarly, again. I saw this, Star Wars, the arcade game. You look at this cartridge and you go, holy crap, it's the Atari 2600 version of Star Wars, the arcade game, which is the rarest Star Wars game on the Atari 2600. There's 4 games for it. There's an Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, something called Jedi Arena, and then there's this one. I've seen all the others, but I've never seen Star Wars, the arcade game for the Atari 2600 in person. It's incredibly hard to find. And then I saw this, and I was like, holy crap, and I bought it. It wasn't until I got home and I tried plugging it into an Atari 2600 I realized it's not fitting, and I was like, why the hell isn't it fitting? I tried, you know, again and again, and I couldn't figure it out. And then something possessed me to stick it in a ColecoVision, and there we go. It was working just fine. I was like, ah, crap, it's the ColecoVision version. But I don't know how rare or valuable that is, but I was a little annoyed by that, but whatever. It didn't mean I was going to return it. It's still a cool thing to have. But anyway, that's it for games. Now moving on. This is you saw it before, the controller for the Wii U. I put it in this nice case I picked up at Best Buy because they don't include a damn case, which is just a really horrible, stupid idea, because you need a case for this thing. It's like a portable system. You're going to scratch that screen up if you don't have anything to protect it. I mean, this is where I keep a lot of my controllers, the ones I use on a regular basis. It's not going to last long in there, so I had to buy this case for it, which is cool because it also came with extra styluses and this rubber thing to keep around it, and so whatever, I picked that up. And I got the Pro Controller, which, like I told you, it looks a lot like an Xbox 360 controller. And I hope more games support this in the future, because the 2 I have don't. And of course that leads us to the actual Wii U itself. Nice system, not fantastic. We'll see what it does in the future, but there it is. It doesn't really, kind of blends into the couch. Sorry about that. And of course there's one of the Xboxes. You saw, I just recently did a video where I cleaned up a couple of Xboxes, and this is actually not the one I cleaned up. I gave that one away. I gave that to my girlfriend, and I just kept the other one. But there you go. So that's it for those 2 that you've already seen, and I'm sorry that Xbox is gone. And the other surprise thing I got was this. On Black Friday, Best Buy, Target, Toys R Us, everybody, all the major retailers were selling the PS3 Model 3, that's the new slim one with like a flip top, or a slide top, I guess you can call it. They were selling this for $100 off. It comes with Infamous 1 and 2, and Infamous Festival of Blood, as well as Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, and Uncharted 2. So you basically get 5 games plus the system for $100 less than usual, and of course a controller. So it says $115 in savings, actually $215 in savings. So you get more savings than you actually spent. And it's got a 250 gigabyte hard drive, and I haven't even opened it yet. And the only reason I've kept it sealed was just to keep it a surprise to you guys, so hopefully you appreciate my pointless waiting period. But that's it, guys. That's all the pickups I got for November 2012. And I want to say thank you to the guys who traded me this, as well as Jake, the filmmaker. Again, if he's claims he's launching a channel, so you might want to go check him out in the future. But I want to thank you guys, and I guess thank you to Goodwill for having cool stuff in stock. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody.